Hello! I did not just nearly do that. That would have been terrible. I've only done that twice in like, what, 8 years of streaming? Imagine I was actually muted for like 30 minutes. That would have been terrible. It's okay, I figured it out very quickly. I was trying to use my stream deck to change the scene for the first time in a while, and then I ended up still having my mic muted, so that was silly. Don't know why I did that. But we are actually playing Palia today. I decided last night that we were going to play Palia purely because I do actually miss playing the game. I don't play Palia enough anymore. I played last week, I played the week before, but like I didn't play for a while because I got obsessed with other games. I miss it. I miss it, and I used to associate it with streaming more than anything, but I love this game, so we need to play it. And there's a new update, and I haven't played it yet, so I'm excited because I have loads of stuff to do. Okay. Um, and I have a bunch of things to open as well, because when I logged in, the amount of daily login rewards and things that I'd accumulated is insane. So I have like a bunch of what do I have? What? I have a bunch of plushies for one. And like I don't know why I have fish in my bag, but we have a bunch of like what's this? Starstone mystery bag, mining mystery bag, and a bunch of smarty pods and shiny pods. So I think what do we have? Like 20 nearly of them, which is pretty much a lot. And the Lunar Market's back. So I do have a claw machine token. And I think I have some left over from last year as well. So we actually might have some little things to do today that we wouldn't typically be doing. So that's nice. I am planning on maybe going to the market at least once, but I have played this game for so long that the market's just kind of become a little bit like sort of useless. When you've gone to them too much, they kind of lose their I don't know, they lose their flair a little bit. I mean, if they added new stuff in, I would probably go there more, but I don't know. I think since they added the hot pot into the underground, it kind of lost me a little bit because I might as well just go to the underground. There's not really too much point going anywhere else. I remember going to the hot pot tables at the market like so often. Every time the market was on, there's one reason why everyone would go. I don't know if they did a wrong thing by moving it there or not. I don't know what would have been better. But yeah, we'll go once. We'll see. Apparently, according to someone in the last stream, that they check out the balloon pop. I don't know if that's just like a non-lunar market thing, and if it's just a generalized market, but I don't know. Apparently, they're checking that out, so we can we can dabble in the chopper chase and see if I can actually see the choppers this year. I know the last time I did a market, the choppers were still glitched, and so were the people. So I don't know if they fixed any of that. We shall see. Um, but yeah, I think we have a new pass as well. Wait, what's it called? Luna? Is it Luna Pass? Are they called Luna Passes, or was the last one called that? I think that was the first one, right? What's the name of them? Oh, they are called Luna Pass. Okay, I was just double checking. I don't want to call them one name if they all like weren't under that same name, but yeah. So I think we might have a new one of those, and we have like I have like a bunch of notifications, so we have a bunch of stuff to do. But I do know that there is fish and things to be caught, so we will have to do that. I didn't finish the last bulletin board bundles, and I felt so silly about it. I basically because I think it was more so because I was ill. If I wasn't ill, I would have been on my PC and I would have probably just logged on and got them done. But when I'm just got my iPad, it doesn't really work. Paleo. Yeah. Oh my god, it's a Friday at 4 p.m. Of course, I'm streaming. But I don't know what we were saying. But maybe we should jump in because I'm not sure what time is it on game. It's 6 a.m. I don't know if that means anything, but here we go. So this is the bulletin board. So we need to go to, oh, Kenyatta. Okay. So last time we did this, it made sense because it was a little bit of like a freak out from, man, I forgot her name again. I don't know how they're going to put this in. So the Riffrock, wait, Riffrock. Why do I keep thinking it was Riffraff? Is that not the name of the horse? I'm kind of hoping, actually. I have this little theory that this animal is potentially something they could bring in as being a mount, but I know a lot of people don't like the idea of mounts in Palia. Also, I've just come to the realization that my sound. Yeah, I've heard people basically not like the idea of mounts in Palia, but I feel like there are some games out there that do have mounts, even though they are quite small maps. I just honestly, I think I'm just lazy when it comes to video games and walking around. Here we go. Do you have a time machine? Because I really would like to go back to the day I let Shane convince me that I could run this year's Lunar New Year celebration and talk myself out of it. What's wrong? Everything. Oh, she sounds like me. As soon as I took over, everything started to go wrong. Zeki's prize wheel broke. Someone put salt in Delilah's sweets. But that doesn't sound that bad. Darius fireworks got set off early. Ugh, okay. Destroyed his entire supply, not to mention a lot of his furniture. And then there's Nayo. He organised this whole new year of the Riff Rock pageant, and now Sugarfoot's too spooked to even compete. He asked me to talk to her because he thinks I'm some sort of animal whisperer, but I'm not. All this happened at once. It's like Margie's telling me I'm not ready to be reasonable. Something is big. Or maybe it's not Margie. Maybe someone is trying to. Who? Who actually would it be? Maybe her mum. I don't know. I'll go see what I can get out of Sugarfoot. Meanwhile, maybe you could talk to everyone else about whose booth was affected and get to the bottom of it. Okay. Okay. So we're talking to Delilah, Zeki, and Hadari. We have mail. Wait, I need to check. Is that at home? It's at home. Maybe I should have gone home before we started this. But hey, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. I probably have a character at home waiting for me to talk to them to start the event. But it's alright. Let's go find Delilah. And then we'll do Zekin, and I think the likelihood of having to go to Bahari, a little bit annoying, but we could leave it till the market opens, but I don't know if that'd be worth it. And that's gonna be a bit before we do that. So maybe we'll just go find him. We do need to get like some stuff for the bulletin board too. So we will be running around a lot today, but you know what? It's okay. Also, we didn't get rid of the snow. Is the snowman still over there? Or did they get rid of that? Oh, where is she? She's still outside. You're up early. It was the strangest thing. I was handing out one of my world famous desserts, and then the customer complained it tasted like salt. I would not complain. I tried one myself, and lo and behold, it tasted like salt lick. Then when I tried another one, it turned out not only had the whole batch gone bad, but all the batches of all the desserts were saltier than the Bahari Sea. Luckily, I had enough day pastries to stay in business for now, but if I don't get new ingredients soon, I'll have to shut down tomorrow. I will let that happen. That's sweet of you, but I need to replace quite a few ingredients. I'm gonna make another batch. Okay, so we need ingredients for like cakes, I'm gonna assume. I just wish whatever practice did this knew how much it was costing me in the entire Lunar Year Festival. I don't feel like it would be on it. I feel like that would be really bad if it was. Honestly, probably Zeki, right? He would never. Zeki may have a juvenile spirit, but he knows the more people who come to the festival, the better for his booth. Oh, true. I didn't think of that. Maybe it was. So, okay, so it's not Oni though. Why would he do that? He's too cute. He wouldn't do that. I don't know if this counts as a clue, but I found some weird tracks near my farm the day it happened. Weird tracks. Almost like someone had been rolling a round ball through the dirt. Don't know what else it could mean though. Okay. It gives us absolutely no information, but it's alright. Still have no idea what that means. I don't feel like it was Arnie though. Why would that be suggested as Arnie? I didn't think about Zeki being related to it. Obviously he was affected, but you know what they say. You know what people do? Try and make them out like they're also a victim of something so they don't get suspected. He could have done that. He's sneaky like that. Let's see what he has to say. And there was a ball involved. I mean, he's a cat. It could have been. I don't know, like a ball of yarn or something. I don't know. What happened to my booth? What didn't happen to my booth? I got to set up shop and there were holes all over the ground. This doesn't sound like a person of any kind. It sounds like an animal. Everything was destroyed, including my good prize wheel. No. I'm using the backup for now, but if that thing goes kaput, which likely it will do any day now, then I got to pack up and call it quits. I can't not do that, not unless you get me some spare gold bars and an electrical eel laying around. Oh my god, gold bars? Is he for real? Does it have to be gold? I'll just make a copper one and signal to every gremlin in a 2-province radius that I'm too poor to afford gold. What's next? You want me to start wearing a potato sack around? I'm not being funny, but like, yeah? Gold? All I know is that they're digging holes and causing destruction. Hope that helps. Okay. Doesn't help. I'm sure Hodari will help better though. Let's go see. When does Hodari come to Kilima? He's not here, right? I don't remember when he actually comes into town. No, he's not. He's in Bahari, but that's fine. I think we should open these and then we can go do that because I feel like I've got too much stuff in my bag and maybe we need to go drop them off because I'm full. I have like 4 slots and if I start going to Bahari and picking stuff up, it's not going to end very well. So we'll open these, see what we get. Hopefully I actually get something good because I got a mining bag and if he gives me gold, he can have it. Otherwise, I'm going to be very stubborn about this. The last time I tried to get gold in Palia, it was a bit easier, but it was still difficult. Gold's never been easy to get hold of. You kind of have to destroy every single stone you see and hope it pops up and just keep circling around and hope that no one gets rid of the gold before you come back and find it. And I could probably, you can buy gold, right? I could probably just buy it, but it's not the same. Okay, I'd like to invite you to participate in our Lunar New Year wish making tradition. We've done this before. I've done this before. I've done this before. Okay, let's open them. Let's see what we get. Which one do we have? Okay, we have Smarty Pods and Shiny Pods. Oh. Oh, wait, she's kind of cute. She's all sparkly. That's cute. Oh, we got 2, though. We got 2 of the same. Okay, I like the first one, but the fact that I got 2 of them is kind of a bit annoying, but it's okay. Let's try again. Oh, wait, she's adorable. Okay. Not bad. Okay, yeah. This is the vibe, okay. We got 2, though. Yikes. Okay. We're being pranked. We're just being given, like, 2 of everything. Let's get rid of all the stuff that do not matter. Like these. And then we got the mining bag. So we got Palium and stone, white stone, flint, and platinum. Quartz, clay, white stone, and what else? Was that it? Oh. Okay. Well, that wasn't great. But it's okay. We have this to do as well. We got sapphire, onyx, and another sapphire. They're good. Oh, they're actually good ones. They're not terrible. I'll take them. I'll take them. I just wish it was gold because Zeki wants all the gold. We have two of these as well. Shaggy the potato pod, but he's kind of cute. Oh, they're actually okay. They're kind of cute. I'll let them off. I'll let them off. They're actually kind of cute. I also got another Palcat plush. I think that was just a I think it was a login reward or something. But we also have Twitch drops I forgot to claim. Oh, I can't do that. I have to do this? Are you kidding me right now? I've already done it a million times. Wait, I want to look at these. Okay, wait. We usually do this like over here, but we've already taken that little spot up. Can I do this anywhere? Like, look at them? No? Okay, well, we'll just put them on the floor. Okay, he's not that exciting. She is. Wait, that's kind of cute. It's like glowing. Wait, these ones are actually cool. I don't know if I have any of these actually. Do I have any of these? Do I have any of these? Odd. Oh, I do. I have one of these ones. And one of these ones. Is she one too? Wait, are these shiny pods? No, they're not. She's cute though. So I actually have, I think, a new one. Maybe two new ones, because this one's new too. We're gonna use these one day, I promise. But I also have some stuff left over. What's this for? The prize wheel. Oh, wait, did I actually end up using them? We've got some lucky coins. We can do those. I thought I had claw machine coins, but apparently I don't. Which is weird. Because I could have sworn I did, but a little bit odd. Super lucky. Wait, super lucky and normal lucky coin. Contains only the most exquisite of offerings from a certain wondrous machine. Okay, so they're different. Do I even wait? Let's check if I have gold as well before we go anywhere, because apparently we're gonna need it. We're fine. I have gold. Okay, I'm just being dramatic. Wait, we should probably use the back door actually, because then it's gonna take me right to his house. Unless, of course, he's like in Killamar. I think he's in Killamar. Can you imagine I go all the way to Barry just for him to be in Killamar? That would be the most annoying thing. Let's see. If he's not in Killamar now, it's gonna be very annoying. It better be. Probably should have brought stuff with me, but I don't actually have the thing to do it yet, so it's kind of pointless. We'll just have to go back. We'll go back, it's okay. He is here though. I'm assuming he just got here, so we can go ask him what happened. He's not a suspect though. Zeki was a suspect. I was thinking like if anyone out of these three is gonna have done it to everyone and themselves to make them not look suspicious, it was gonna be Zeki, let's be real. He would definitely do like something to his own stuff while doing something to everyone else's just to make him not look like he's the one doing it. Smart though. Would be smart. I'm still confused as to what Delilah was trying to imply though. Let's see what he has to say. Hello. Oh. It's not really my booth that's the problem. I had some merchandise set off accidentally in my shed at home. Okay, that sounds a little bit. He had something set. Okay, so the fireworks set off at home. Najuma. On my way, lost some stock. That's not why I'm most troubled by. The explosion destroyed a little New Year's surprise I planned for Najuma. Oh, so it can't be. Can't be her then. She'd be complaining about our house's lack of plumbing, so I made all the stuff to make a proper indoor outhouse for her, but it got destroyed. I love him. Now I have to decide between running the shop and building new furniture. Or I could help you. So we're going to build some toilets. I don't usually like holding my hand out asking for a helping hand, but if I could help my little girl smile, then I guess I don't have a choice. Now that you mention it, I did find this by the explosion. I knew he would have something. Wait, is it in my, like... Where is it? Where did it go? He handed me a scale of some kind, but I don't see it. Okay, well, I just figured we're gonna go back to her then. I thought it was gonna give me, like, a scale of some kind. It said a strange scale. It didn't even give me anything. At least give me, like, something I can't do anything with except for hand back. I wanted to see what it looked like. Is it just supposed to be that the Riffroc, like, horse thing is the one that's in the wrong? And, like, they've not seen it for a while, or what? Actually, now that I think about it, would this be something that would be in that new expansion that they've sort of hinted about? Could it be the first hint that we have? Is she upstairs or is she outside? Oh, hello. I talked to Naya and it seemed like Sugarfoot is willing to compete if we give her the proper incentive. Turns out if she just loves fancier bread biscuits. If only I knew how to get a hold of some, we could make those the first prize for winning Riffrock. Oh well, one really annoying problem at a time. What did you find out about a booth bandit? Show the scale explains a lot. Booth bandit. Okay, I'll show the scale. If our bandit has scales, then it was just a correct roll. Disappointing. I was hoping it was a person so I could nail him to the wall. I can actually imagine it doing that too. I'll go to Shane and see if he can help me identify where the crick came from. In the meantime, Real can't afford the festival to lose any vendors. I've put out a list of everything everyone needs on the bulletin board. Okay, so we can go do it now. I kind of had a stream on in the background earlier, but I didn't see what was actually on. I just heard him speak about it. Okay, so we have sweet leaf, milk, honey, and wheat. Do I have these? Ooh. I have all but the honey. I have the bars. I have quite a lot. I never usually have this much. Okay, these I can do very easily though, right? I think. And these I don't have. So I don't have any of these yet, but these are I think they're quite easy to make. And if like Tish has any, we don't have to use as much materials. I don't really know. But we have pretty much all of these, so I think I'm gonna go see what I have though, just in case, because I don't want to use them all. If we end up using them all, that would be like pretty devastating. And actually, like, oh my, someone is like spamming me with notifications. We're gonna go and do these. How do I use these ones? How do I use these ones? Oh, and wait, we have Twitch drops too. Here we go. That plushie, by the way, is so cute. That's one of those things you don't want to like miss on a Twitch drop. Yeah, we don't have like, I don't know how you use these. Are they only used at like the underground? Because that didn't used to be a thing, right? I don't even know how I got them. I think I just logged in and did that, like what we just did. I think I did that. It was just kind of like a login reward or something. I don't know where they came from. I probably had like dailies and then like Twitch drops. Maybe they're from Twitch drops. I don't know what they're used for. We have to figure that out because I have 3 of them and I don't know what to do with them. We also have to go to the market because otherwise the ticket's gonna be in my inventory and that's gonna be very annoying. It's taking a long time. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we need to. I remember off the top of my head. I think I can. Maybe we should, okay, let's open these and then we can go and do, we'll open everything, because if I put stuff in my bag that I need for the bulletin board, I'm gonna get very confused. Okay. Glowworms. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. That's terrible. I don't need onion seeds. That's great though. We love that. Yes. I don't have that yet. And I'll take butter. That's fine. Okay, we got Kelvin again. And Beatrix. Oh, she's cute. We got Patch. And we got Cappy again. Oh, I love that one. Okay, let's put those away. And then, oh, we have this one. Mo. Okay. And then we have this guy. Look how cute this is. It's so pretty. I love it. I can't wait to actually use these things once I fully decorate. Okay. I don't know if we keep this out. Maybe we do. Let me keep these up here just so I like be sure. Okay. There was no bugs. Was there any fish? There was no fish, right? Oh, there is. There's one. There's two. Okay, so just one of these and 5 of... No, it's just one. It's just this one. Although we might need them for that. Do we need fish for this? I don't know if we need fish for these. Oh, wait, no. We buy these, right? From the market? Like, these are bought at the market. Okay, so maybe this isn't going to be too difficult. We could probably do this in one day, if I'm completely honest. So we need the food. Let's just see how much of those I actually have. So we've got milk of 92. That's not a problem. And then sweet leaf. I have 92 sweet leaf. Oh, I don't have honey though. What was the other one? Honey, and I have wheat. So how much wheat do we have? 20. Oh, 71. Oh, we're good. We're fine. Okay. So we can do that. That's fine. I'll go and do that. And then we'll go get honey because, in fact, I should probably write this down. If I need honey and I forget. So we need honey. How much honey? We need 25. How much do I have? We have 7. Okay. 7. How much do we need? We need 25. And we have 7. So we need like 18. Okay. I'm really bad at remembering things like that. We've got these, but we need the eel. The thundering eel. I don't even know where you get that. We only need 1 though. Furniture, we need these, but I think, where did we get this from the normal shop or do we have to buy it from the market? I think we can go hand all of those in and then we can go get the honey and stuff before the market opens. The market opened at like 1:45, I think. I only figured it out recently. I'm pretty sure it's 1:15 for 6 a.m. and 1:45. So like 15 for 6 a.m., 45 for 6 p.m. It took me such a long time to figure out. Like, what, 2 years? 3? How long has this game been out? Like, 3 years nearly or something? Crazy. Hello! Welcome in! How was stream? You had to bring the wolf back to your channel. Hello! How's everyone doing? We're finally playing PALIA. I've been abandoning the game for too long. I hope everyone's doing good. We're just starting to do the bundles, so you guys are gonna come watch me try and find one single fish that's probably gonna take me like an hour to do. So be prepared. Stream was sleepy, running on caffeine. Ugh, honestly, the energy levels have just been down today. I think it might be the weather. I like the weather. Personally, I really like the weather, but it is gloomy. It's gloomy in a good way, but like it does definitely make it difficult when you're tired, which is, you know, completely fair. completely fair. I'm trying to look for my thing and I cannot for the life of me find it, guys. I apologize. I am really bad with... Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm trying to find my Raiders thing and I can't find it. Hello, Katie, welcome in. I hope everyone's doing good. But yeah, like I said, the weather doesn't help. The weather does not help. I do like it personally, but it kind of like it's... I like the ambience of it when it's like gloomy and rainy, but I'm not a fan of like dark. Smush buttons until something happens. I can't see. Do you know what it is? I have the Stream Deck Mini and it's like this big. And I have like text on it, but I can't see it. So like, where is it? Oh, that's why. No, that's really old. You guys. My Stream Deck is not up to date. Oh my. I think it's a command anyway. Let's try it. There you go. I actually made this little thing too, but it's like obnoxious. I don't know. Maybe I should make it a bit smaller. But we have like a lot of these things and I didn't even know I had them. That's what happens when you're a good hoarder in video games. New size of the font and the buttons. No, I made the image on the buttons myself and they are not great colors. So that's the problem. It's not the text. I can make out the text to some extent if I use the button enough to know what it says. But like, I can see my mute my mic button and like change my scenes and things. But for some reason, I made them so long ago that the colors are not great. Have we not? Oh, okay. So we need like 18 honey and an eel. So I don't know if honey is actually hard to find because I haven't looked for honey. I don't think I've even tried to actually get the honey itself. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I hope it's not going to be difficult. Do we just like chop down trees for it? I don't actually know how to find it. Maybe we can go and try and do that a little bit now before we go to the market because this ticket, the damn ticket will not leave my inventory and it's kind of annoying. Like, I don't really care too much about the market, but it might take a while if you're gathering it in Bahari or Elderwood. Oh, but you can get it from both. Oh, you can get it from both. Probably easier if I stay in the Elderwood, though. If you happen to have bees, it'll take a couple of harvests. Wait, am I like missing things that I should know? Should I have like looked for something? Like, I have not remotely interacted with the like honey or anything since this update came out. Branching skill and has bees. Oh, I don't have bees yet. I don't have bees yet, so maybe this is gonna be a problem. No, I thought that was it then. Well, maybe we just like we just find it on the trees, right? Botanic Grove usually has some honey. Ooh. Oh, you're amazing. Thank you. Is that up this way? Yes. Oh wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's around the corner. I always do that. Yeah, I need to really like get back into the Palea grind a little bit. In like the non-grindy sense. That's the thing. I'm always like, oh, I need to play this game more. And I'm like, I get obsessed. Should I cut down the trees and just like hope they spawn with it? Because I don't hear or see it yet. My luck is that I have like a million things that they want me to have for the bundles, but then I don't have the one thing that I have to hunt down for ages to find. Like I say, I just don't look after my animals enough. It's such a problem in any game. It really is ridiculous. Wanted to request when I can send you 4 to get you started. I've got 122. I need 18 though. Is it worth me like stealing it from you? I think we might just find it on stream. I don't know if like I don't know. We're not finding any though. Maybe I should have to like maybe I should accept that. Maybe I should accept the offer. Should we do it? Maybe I should. Because I don't know if, like, this is going to be, like, super difficult. Where even is honey? I don't even know where honey is. Is it in the food or is it in the, like, foraging thing? What would it come under? Oh, that one. This one. That was so confusing. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I just, like, this is going to take me a while. That was really quick. Thank you. You're so quick and efficient. There we go. Okay, we're down to 14. We can change the number. We need 14, I think. I think we had 7, and now we have 11. So we need 14. Okay. Thank you for that. I do think we're going to struggle quite a bit. But I think we just wander around and we just look at every tree. Fallen trees might cause honey to spawn. Oh, okay. Wait, but we need to go to the market now, right? Okay, we'll go to the market because I want to get rid of the ticket because the game is forcing me to have the ticket in my bag, regardless of the fact that I've done the lunar market for every year now. I don't need to do the wishing tree thing. Make me do it, but I want to get rid of it. Also, like, does anyone know what these coins are? Because they're not the typical coins. What do I use these? There is one reason to go to the market. Then you put. Wait. Oh. I walked past that. Is it the Riffroc one? Fairgrounds. I have not been to a market in so long. Even though I've, like, played, I just haven't gone to a market because there's, like, no reason. Same machine as the lucky coin. I tried to use them in the... What just happened? What just happened? That wasn't weird at all. High chance of better items. Yeah, I tried to use it, but they wouldn't let me use it for some reason. Which is really annoying. I do have tickets, though. Hello! I feel so cozy and warm already. Your voice is so relaxing. That's a lie. That is a lie. My voice is not relaxing. There's no way. Thank you, though. I appreciate it, but I would not even be able to concentrate. I was saying in, like, one of my other streams, I don't know how people, like, do their work while watching my stream. Because does my voice not, like, annoy you like crazy? You have no... I have enough tickets to get 7? Really? Wait, where do I get these? No lies, it's so smooth. Oh my god. Do you know what? It's probably just the York tracks, and I mean, a lot of people seem to like it, unless you're actually from Yorkshire yourself, and then it goes through me. I don't like it. So I need a chapper pen. This one? Is this, like, the only place you can spend them, isn't it? So wait, which, like, thing? Is it this one? It's so cute. Because, like, I don't need any of these. Like, maybe I don't have this, but I don't really care about it, you know? Yep. Oh, okay. Do I buy 7, though, like you said? Do I need 7? Can I use these on anything else? Or is it just this? The head looks like a chockaboo. A what? A chockaboo? What's a chockaboo? What is that? I feel like you guys always say things. I have no idea what you mean. I'm uneducated. I'm uneducated. I don't know. Is this, like, the only thing I can spend it on? There's some new decor items. Wait, okay, so let's just wait. Let's calm down before I buy all the plushies, okay? Let's see. Let's see. Now, damn it! Can you imagine if I just like went ahead and bought 7 plushies and was like devastated? Wait, because I also need these for the quest. Oh, not for the quest, but for like the bulletin board. Chaku is a big yellow bird you can use as transport in Final Fantasy. Oh, I've heard that name before. Like, that's why I was kind of like, wait, what? But I didn't actually know what it was. I've never played Final Fantasy, but I swear every time someone talks about it, it makes me want to play it. Oh my god, I need to look that up now. See, I need to use... Wait, because I already own those. I need to use, like, some to buy food. Is it just that? How many of these do we need? How many of these do we need? Okay, we need 5. Let's buy those first before we buy plushies and furniture. Right, so that's that. So we have those. And then what else did we need? Just in case any of these cost, like, stuff. So Zeki, where's Zeki? I don't remember where anyone is in this. It's been so long since I've been here. It's actually crazy. Do I buy it from here? Yes, I do. We need, I think, 5 of those. I got a starred one and I can't use it because I need to use it for the bulletin board. Of course I do. Okay, yeah, 5. And then we need 5 dragon fireworks. And I don't think... Where do I buy them? Where do we buy those from? Might also be worth grabbing the recipe for gold too, as I'm not sure that only... Recipes for gold? The recipes for gold? Wait, this. Recipe firework. Magical firework. Wait, where's this supporting local vendor? Where do I get this from? From the Hodari stand? Oh. Oh, you should have told me all this before you told me about plushies. You told me about the plushies first and I almost bought them all and stopped myself like, wait a second. Wait, am I at the wrong one? Am I at the wrong... Wait, am I at the wrong one? Recipes... A up, everyone. Right at the top. Oh, where? I haven't been to this market in so long, I can't describe to anyone. I haven't even been to the Magi markets. Because that one's got, like, not top of the... They're at the top of the list. Oh, you mean buy gold bars from Hodari? I don't need them. I wonder what you meant. I was like, wait, what? I don't need them. No. What are we talking about? Open the cache. This one. Am I on the right thing? Fireworks near the top of the list. Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wait, I've got to buy all of those? They're 2,000. I want Riffroc plushies. I don't want fireworks. No. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh, God. This is such a problem. Raj, you got me so excited about the plushies and decorations. I've got to buy these. How many of these do we need? 5? We're 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So, Raz, I can buy 1 plushie. You can earn them those fireworks during the event. Oh! How do I do that? I am not buying them if I don't need to. I am not doing that. Do I just, like, do, like, the chapter chase and stuff? Is that all I need to do? Because I am not. 6 chests around there too. Oh, yeah, they do! I forgot about the chests. Where are they? Are they in the same place as usual? I don't think... Oh, they are. They are! Hello! Never get over how good your hair looks like that. It's natural. I did it natural today. If it's... I had to put it up. I was gonna leave my hair down, okay? I was like, I'm gonna do my natural hair and leave it down. It looked fine until I come on camera because I cannot describe to you guys. I don't look like this in real life. My mirror makes me look different than the camera. I don't know what it is. My hair on camera was like out here. So I had to put it up. But You can earn all 5 fireworks. You will need to buy a few. Okay. You can't earn them all. Ooh, it's okay. If I can buy a couple, if I have to buy a couple, that's okay. That's fine. We'll work through like the annoyance of it. It'll be fine. I was gonna say how pretty it looks. You guys are so nice. Only one of you even have to be nice to me. Only one of you are obliged to be nice because you're my mum. Press I to inventory and quick look at the top. Wait. Press I to open inventory and click first icon. Yeah, this one. Oh, wait, the stamp cards. I forgot about the stamp cards. Wait. Do I have anything that I can get? I don't. But I can get tickets. I can get tickets. That's better than nothing. 2 strands of chef's kiss. I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I did it and I was like, let me see what it looks like with my hair down. So I was like, I'll just put the hair down. It'll be fine. And I took it down. I was like, I don't like it. Put it back up. And then I look like I have like a bald patch in my hair. So I don't know about that. Cycle through the fireworks stamp tiers. Wait, let me just double check that the chapter chase isn't going to happen without me because I need to earn things. I need to earn things. The fireworks one. Oh, wait. Oh, there's 2 on that one. 5 firework arrows. Wait, can I buy fireworks? I need to get more water, actually. I'll drink this. I'll keep this, make sure I have this so that when you do that, I actually have water. But after stream, I'll get my 3rd bottle today. And this is the first time in a good couple of days I've actually drank 3 bottles. 3 liters of water. Are you proud of me? I've only just realized. You guys. The camera. It's on the wrong side. Chapter Chase is midnight? Midnight? Oh my god. 5 stream streak. Oh my god. Love that for you. Love that for you. But the cheap fireworks from Hassian stand outside the market. Outside of the market. Outside of the market? Do you want me to refill? No, I'm fine. I've had like 2.5 liters already today. I don't want to drink too much during stream because then I'll be like, I need the toilet. I don't want that. I've got enough. I've got like this much. I'm okay. We're okay. I need it for sips, not for full gulps. We're good. Where's my 5-year streak? Honestly, true. I don't think you even missed a stream. Even if you just like dipped in for like 2 seconds, I don't think you've missed a stream since like 2020. So, you might not have a physical streak, but you know, thank you. Outside is when he's wandering around. Oh. So should I wait to do that? Because this? 250? Yeah. Okay, so we need to go find... So he sells them outside the market then. Okay, so we go find him outside the market and we buy fireworks. We only need 5. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I appreciate the tips though. You guys always come in clutch. I never know anything. You guys are just so good. Also, I'm trying to remember. Yep, there's one up there. Hot pot can earn reasonable tickets if you get a coin. Ooh. Okay, so we'll do hot pot. Okay, we'll keep going back to the market then. That's what today's stream is. We're pretty much just coming back to the market because if we don't get tickets and stuff, we cannot actually do anything. Go get this one. I think you need to make a wall of fame on your bedroom. It's just me. Wait. Wait, Jack. You're gonna laugh. But you know Rody? I don't know if anyone watches Fortnite creators or anything, but Rody Bros has like, he used to have a wall that he called a father wall, and he used to have people that he would like 1v1 in Fortnite, and if they won, they got the picture on his wall. Should I do that for you guys? But like, watch streaks, yeah. Just have like a Jack Whoa. Exact fruit hot pot and honey gathering. True. We'll go and find honey and the eel, maybe. Maybe, I think we'll just do the honey, honestly. And then we can come back to the market and do the hot pot. Sounds like a plan to me. Okay. Wait, where do I find the other one? How many chests did you say there were? Like 5 of them? I got 2, and I remembered exactly where they were as well. Like, 6? Okay, we have 4 more. I remembered where 2 of them were. Like, every time I somehow managed to remember. Wait, there's one back here, right? No. There used to be. Or there was at least once. I remember where some of them are, though. There's 6 or 7. Can't remember which one. That's getting old now, okay? It's been months. It's been months. All new locations. I could have sworn that that one up there and that one over there were the same as usual. I feel like I remember them being there. Are they like slightly different? Because that does not count. Okay, that doesn't count. This one's not new either. This one's not new either. What? You're getting old? I'm not 27 this year. I don't know what you're talking about. Ew. Ew. I'm still 18, okay? I never aged. I haven't aged in like, oh god, I was 18 like 8 years ago. No, thank you. No. Oh, this one is new. Okay, we have 4 of them. Wait, I found 4 out of 6 on my own without even really trying to find them. I'm quite proud of myself. If you're old, I must be fairly ancient. That's what I'm saying. Jack, every time you say I'm old, it offends everyone in stream, okay? No, ads are about to begin. Okay, I'm going to snooze that because I feel bad because we're about to do chapter chase and I don't want to like go to ads during chapter chase. So we'll try and do chapter chase and then ads will probably play. And we need to do that as well. It's kind of weird actually because I've been live for an hour already. We've not even really done anything. Crazy. I would say that I could be live for longer, but I did not plan ahead for this. We might just have to play PALIA a little bit on Wednesday because I'm going to be potentially streaming Stars and Island. It depends on if the game releases on time. So we'll see. But I think Friday might be a PALIA day too. Do the blue dye. I'll give you more tickets. The blue dye? Do the blue dye. I'll give you more. Wait, blue dye? What's blue dye? Oh my god. Oh my god, I've got like nostalgia. This is nostalgic. Holy. I have not played this in so long. I can actually see them. Wait, did they fix this? Because this looks so much better than it used to. Hello? They're not disappearing in front of my eyes anymore. It's great. I can actually see the chappers. You know what? You know what's going to make you sound old? Oh god. What is it? What is it? Throw it at me. Which tickets have to be dyed to be used? Oh. I didn't know that. They don't tell you anything anymore. You left high school 7 years ago. Jack, do you know what would make me sound older? I left school 10 years ago this year. I left school 10 years ago this year. In about 4 months, I will have left high school 10 years ago. That's disgusting. I know, right? It's gross. Like, who thought that? No. Surely that's wrong. That can't be right. That's gotta be a lie. I've got to be making that up. I left school 28 years ago. Really? I didn't really think you were that old. What? No way. This is crazy. Oh my god. What happened? We all grew up. We're just big kids though, really. Let's be real. We're all playing games like this. I mean, we're not grown-ups. There's no grown up energy around here. You left high school when you were born. That's crazy. There's no way you're. No. No, you've got to be lying. That's mad. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. I have like a really bad, like, concept. Is it. Wait, let me think about it. I won't say that. I have a really hard time with understanding how old someone is these days. Like, when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, that person's old, right? Like, that's just what kids do. But now I'm just like, there is no way that that person is like, oh my, what did that just do? What happened? I have like a really bad like way of trying to understand how someone is like a certain age now, because I just like, everyone either looks 12 years old or 60. It's like really difficult. Lost count. 40 what? Don't expose yourself like that. It's not true. We're sisters. She's 30 years old. That's not true, okay? Don't tell people that. We're 5 years short of 50s. Really? I actually would never have guessed that. Like, truly, I never would have guessed that. Wow. Crazy. Some people I work with are 3 times older than me. I feel like that's so weird. Like, how do you, like, have conversations and it be like, I don't know. I feel like that would be really difficult. Really difficult. Because you're like still a baby to, like, a bunch of people. Because you're still a teenager to me. There might only be 4 years between us, but to me, you're still a kid, you know? Like, I can't imagine that. I feel like you are good with, like, you're kind of like me. I think you can talk to, like, older people better than people your own age. I don't know. Maybe. In 7 years longer than 50. Yeah. Well, you need to, like, lie, because we are not mother and daughter anymore, okay? We're just sisters. You're, like, a couple years older than me. You're, like, the cool older sister. No one has to know. At 36, no one ever believes me. I just feel like there's something in the air recently. This whole time I've been married and have 2 kids, just an FYI. Can you imagine? Can you actually? Because the thing is, I have literally no idea how old someone is, so you could easily be older than you are. I wouldn't know. I actually wouldn't know. Wait, I'm gonna buy the 1 plushie, though. I do have enough to buy at least 1. What do I use this for? The prize wheel? Let's see what it gives. I didn't use my coin. Or I did. Ooh, 400. 400 is pretty good. We just got 400 tokens, or whatever they're called. Wait, that puts me at... I basically didn't even spend money. That was girl math right there. That was, like, unintended girl math, where I just, like, managed to get all my money back. I didn't even buy the plush, okay? It just, like... I bought the plush. It gave me the money back. Doesn't count. We got a free plush. He's so cute, though. He's so cute. I think we can make our way back to Killamont, and then we have an ad break coming up. And it'll only be 3 minutes. We'll only be gone for 3 minutes, I promise. Don't forget to do the wish. How do I... Okay, should we stay... Do I dye the wish outside of this? Like, how do I, like... We might have to do that after the break. I don't know how to do it. Do I have, like, a quest? Near the tree is a dye station. Can I do that while the thing's open? We have 40 seconds. Will I do it in time? I just want to get rid of it. I just want to get rid of it. I'm sorry, if I can skip, I'm gonna skip. Because I've seen this, like, a million times. I'm so sorry. Oh. Did I do it? Oh. What? I'm so confused. Okay, we'll do this after the ads because ads are literally about to play. So please, please go and like get a drink, some food, or stretch or something. I will be back in 3 minutes, I promise. We're back. I hope ads have already finished for everyone. And if they haven't, and you're watching this back, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It told me ads are finished, but do they actually finish when they tell you ads are finished? Because I don't think they do. But I think are gonna try to see if this works. It says to my right. Wait, you said to my right? This? Oh. Okay, so we're gonna do the wish. We dye it blue. And then we do this. Okay, we're watching now that we don't have ads coming up, but like I've seen this before, so it is cute though. It is cute. Okay, now what? What do I do? Is that all I do to get rid of it? I don't have to do anything else? Okay. Okay. Wait, you can do this while the market's closed now? You can do this while the market's actually closed now. What? Also, there's no claw machine at the Lunar market, right? Yeah. It'll take a while for the wish to be ready. Okay. Okay. Do I actually have to open these? No, I don't. They just go back. Okay. So, I think we can go and turn these in. I think it can be turned in. Because we have the food. We just don't have the honey yet. We have more honey though. Oh, it's not bad. We just need like 14 more honeys. We'll find them. You'll get another wish in 24 hours IRL in the mail. Oh, okay. I seriously don't remember the Lunar market at all. It's bad enough that I don't really remember the market. You guys don't have desktop audio. Please tell me you guys have had audio this whole time. Please tell me you guys have had game audio the whole time. Why would I have muted that? That is so weird. There's no way I muted that during break, right? Uh-oh. Good job the audio isn't too bad. You hear music and some game audio. Didn't notice it before. It's a good job. It doesn't matter too much if it wasn't on the VOD for like half the stream. That's really annoying. That's super annoying because if I'm ever like not talking for a second in the VOD, it's gonna be like pure silence. Oh god. See, like I said last stream, streamers are human too. Some of the things I do is just like, oh, how many years have I been doing this? Like 8 years now in total. I only ever have games started on during stream anyways, so rarely notice when it's off. Wait, so you don't have game audio on when you play at all? I've seen some people that don't put audio on. I've definitely, wait, that's more than what I thought I had. We have 12. So I need 13. Where did I get 14 from? I know there's some like people, I watch some streamers that don't even wear like headphones or anything. Even when streaming, like I always wondered how did they have like, you know, like wireless in-ears or something, but no, they don't. They don't. They just don't listen to the game. Which is interesting, but like I get it as well because sometimes I just don't want to hear the game. Okay, we are quite far through. We are quite far through. This is not terrible. Why does that keep coming up? It's annoying me. We need honey, so we're gonna go... Where's like the best place for me to really go and get honey though? Also, we need to find... Wait, we need to find... We need to find Hodari, so maybe we should like do that first so we don't forget. And then we'll go do the honey. It's actually really bad having played a different game. When you come back to another game, you kind of do this thing where you try and press the wrong buttons. Like I'm so tempted to press X to get my car out. But this is Palia, not Heartopia. There are no cars. Really, really bad. As I was streaming, I'm normally watching other streams, movies, or TV, so audio gets in the way. I put the audio on, but like very quiet. So if I ever begin streaming, I'm like, oh, you guys can't hear it. It's because I don't turn it off, but I have it on like really low. Unless I'm in like a certain mood. Sometimes I am in a mood where I'm like, I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to hear anyone else talk. I just want silence and then like footsteps in my game. Like I've been playing Stardew Valley all week. Like like off stream, that's what I've been playing. And when I tell you, all I've been listening to is my little pitter-patter footsteps. That's all I've been listening to, like, most of the time. But yeah, I get that. There's definitely a lot more people that prefer other audio than having the game audio. Pretty weird, actually. The amount of, like, stuff that goes into, like, game sound, and people are just like, it's kind of bad. Feel bad for the audio people in games. No game audio does get entertaining in games. Does get entertaining in games with hostile mobs. Wait. Wait. Wait, what am I buying? I'm buying fireworks, right? Items. But what am I buying? I'm so confused. Oh.
Have a good one.
You guys trying to help me with something? You're like really, truly trying to help, but I'm just like completely reading your message wrong. He's not even here. Oh my god. Back to kill him where it is. Why do I do that? You guys do that? Like, even when I have like the Wikipedia up on my monitor or something to like help me with something, I'm completely doing the wrong thing. How did I manage to read that wrong? You said Hassian, not Hodar. How did I not? Those are two. It's, you know what it is? My mind sometimes just sees the first letter and assumes what it says based off the fact that I know a word that begins with that in relation to what I'm doing. So I just automatically think of Hodari when I see H. That is really bad though. I need to stop doing that. One day that's gonna really matter and it's gonna be... I'm gonna have consequences, right? Wait, where is he? He's not here either. What? Am I crazy? He's not here and he's not in Bahari. Does he spawn in Elderwood? Huh? Oh. Stop complaining, he's right in front of you. Okay, he sells fireworks. Do I already have them? Are these? Should I buy these? I do have loads of coin. Wait, you can buy these ones with gold? Wait, like Tau actually gives you like benefits now. Hello? Well, I don't have that yet. Just grab 20 and fire them all at the market. 20 of them. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do pink just because. I bought 30. I thought there were 5 in a thing. Can I do it now? Can I like go back to the market like straight up and do it? Or should I just wait? I think I'll just wait. I'll just wait. Let's go to... Let's just go and do the honey because I need honey so badly. Like I'm desperate. Honey time. Yeah. 13. We don't even need 14. We only need 13. I don't know why I don't have honey. I have everything else. You guys saw how much of everything else I had. I have like 90 milk and like 90 sweet leaf. You know what the thing is though? I never ran out of sweet leaf because I was doing all the cake parties. Like I just had so much sweet leaf that it's still not being used. It's like crazy. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I just never run out. I don't know what it is. Did anyone else do that? Did anyone else do like cooking parties and then just like have so many ingredients for the thing that they did at a party that they never ran out of it? Because I used to do sweet leaf because I always felt intimidated. I always felt intimidated by like the idea of doing something wrong. Thank you for the look. I appreciate it. We need to go and find honey. We need luck. We need good luck. Because this could be dreadful. Okay. And out stuff when I don't do cooking parties. I just like, basically, because I was so concerned with the idea that if I burnt the cake, everyone would hate me. Right? I was always concerned that if I burnt the cake, everyone would hate me. So I had this like problem with, I'll just do the sweet leaf. I'll go and hunt for the sweet leaf for the day, and then I'll do cooking parties at the end, and it'll be fine. But then I would just have so much sweet leaf once I stopped doing cooking parties that it was insane. I'm down to like 90 of it now, or 70 now that I use some, but they're only just running out. Especially because I don't really cook. I don't cook in this game, okay? I did try and cook a little bit like a couple of weeks back. I was like, oh, this isn't too bad anymore. Like, it's okay. It's not too bad. I see 3 on my server. Wait, are you not on my server? Oh, you're not. Wait, should I join? I'm gonna join. I'm gonna join. Wait, that's so clutch. If you actually have 3 there and I can get it. Where? Where are the goods? Join. Oh. Did I do it? I did it. You're over there. For a double drop too? Wait, that would be like 6, so we'd only need like 7. Wait, where are you though? You're up there? Oh, there you are. Wait, that would be so good. Where is it? One. I was like, I'm following you, like. Wait, this is so good. I love the fact that you could do this. Oh, wait, there's one there. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait, there's 3. We have 4. 2, 3. And then there's this one. So we have at least 4 of them. Oh, we didn't get double drop, but you know what? It's actually fine. That is so good. Thank you so much for telling me that. So we only need 9. Can you imagine? Should we like bother chopping the trees down? Or should we just like look for the honey? I don't know what's best. I feel like it's so easy to miss it though. Right? Like I feel like I just walked past one like 5 minutes ago and it just like didn't even render in my brain. It doesn't stand out enough. I feel like it needs to glow. You know? I feel like it needs to glow really annoyingly like bright. And then I'd be able to see it. I'm gonna search for a moment. Do you have anyone you can sync to? Let's see. I only have 2 friends online and one of them's you. No, I don't. But I could go home. I could like go home. And then try and go to a different one. Would that work? I don't know if that would work. We'll both have to leave? Okay. Cool. If it gives us a higher chance, that's better. I appreciate the help though, because this was going to be really stressful. And I only need 9. We only need 9? We started the stream needing like 17. This is so good. I thought this was going to be way more difficult than it is. Let me like... Oh, again? How is it letting you do that again? Didn't you only just do that? I'll drink, you know? I don't mind. I do need the help. Like I said, I was really bad with drinking for the last couple of days. It was kind of ridiculous. Wait, I also have this guy while I'm here. If we have no luck in the Eldwood, then we can try Bahari. Okay, okay. I'll see. I'll go back in a second. I just need to look at this guy because he's so cute. It looks like a child made him. I can't put him away. I like cannot put him away. Can I put him on my door, please? Oh, I'll be back soon. That is so cute. Man, the one thing that Palia does right is the cuteness. I don't think anyone can deny that. I'm obsessed. This is the reason why. I mean, you can't even see them. I don't have them in the background, do I? Why do I have them in the background? That's silly. They're on my bed. I have like 10 plushies on my bed at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 plushies on my bed. I need more though. Let's be real. I have 2 on my desk. 2 on my desk. 7 on my bed. I only have 9, and Jack's over here with like 60 jelly cats. Oh wait, it just brought me back. It brought me back to the same server. I didn't even think about that. Cuteness overload. Honestly, like, I need all the frog and mushroom vibes I can find. 46 actually. Wait, you're on a different server, but it says you're... Yeah. No, we're on the same server. Oh, is it that if you're in a group, like if you both leave, it brings you both into a new one? Honestly, like, I don't even know. I'm here though. I went home, came back too. Yeah, does it put us both in the same, in a different server? That's what you meant, I think. I forgot about the other plushie I have on my desk too. I feel really bad. I was like, I have 2 on my desk. I have 3. I have 3. Oh my goodness me. What just happened? What is going on? We found 2. Oh. Wow, we hit the jackpot. Oh. Is this Palia's version of Elsa? No, this is Palia's version of Rapunzel. It's just a different color. Like, this is my favorite version. Where is it? Is this one? I like this one. This one's more me. No, it's literally called Rapunzel. The outfit is literally called Rapunzel. Oh, I thought that was honey. It's just a nut. No. Just Palia graphics screwing up as normal. Hello, Tony. That was crazy, though. What? Looks like a strawberry matcha. You know what? It does. And now I want one. Now I want one. I keep seeing, like, nice-looking matcha drinks, and I'm like... We don't have enough, like, stuff over in this country that do that kind of drinks. There's like one place that does it, and that's it. And personally, I'm not a fan of, like, anywhere else. At one point, actually, we used to go to, like, we used to go out a lot. I used to drink a lot of, like, sugary coffee back in the, I go to the TP to Bahari, and I'm like, oh. I used to have, like, a lot of, like, sugary coffees and stuff, and now I'm just, like, I'd rather, like, not. If anyone knew what my coffee was like in college, it was bad. The thing is as well, like, the guy that at our college used to serve the coffee, he used to give us, like, extra syrup. And for reference, it was a caramel frappuccino. He used to give us extra caramel. It was so bad. I remember once, I didn't have, like, I wasn't hyper from, like, the coffee, because there's barely any coffee in a frappuccino at this point. The sugar was the problem. I had such a high from the sugar, and then I just, like, had the worst headache. And I remember, like, we're, like, 18, right? But my tutor at the time was just, like, not happy. She was not happy. She was like, you guys need to stop drinking so much sugar. It's making you really annoying. I actually can't imagine how bad that was. Can you remember that energy powder you used to promote? You know, the only reason I don't promote that anymore isn't for any like bad reason. It's just that I can't have caffeine like that now. Nothing to do with the company or anything. It's honestly the fact that I just can't have the caffeine. Because that was great for the caffeine. You remember the streams back then? You remember the rage? What was it? It was called Rogue Energy. That was the name. I actually really loved it too. I remember I ordered one and I realized a week after I ordered it, I realized I shouldn't be drinking it anymore and I had to sell it. I sold it on Facebook Marketplace. I sold it full price. I didn't open it or anything. It was great. But yeah, I can't drink that anymore. Which is why I couldn't get the... Is it Madrid? What's the company? There's like a company that does the same sort of energy stuff that did a collab with PALIA, and I couldn't buy the like drink to get the plushies and stuff. Like they did like in-game and real life stuff with it, and it was so cool, and I just couldn't buy it because I couldn't drink it. I was like, what's the point? Madrinas? Yeah. Is that how you say it? Because I already knew the company prior to PALIA's collab with them. But I just like, it was so annoying. I wanted the stuff, but I just like, obviously I'm not going to spend money on something I can't consume. I said it right? Oh wow, I actually said it right. I had a hard time on Heartopia the other day. I was going back for my clips to edit them for TikTok, and let me tell you, that is bad, okay? It is bad. What was it? What was it? It was like something face stinks. And I can't say the word stinks properly. It like doesn't come out properly. I don't know why. I wanted to push it, but not bad enough to buy it. It was very expensive. Like, I know why it's so expensive, because all of the companies are like that when it comes to energy drinks, but man, it was expensive. Like, I think they even ended up putting the plushies in the game, right? Or at least one of them. At least one of them are. Kind of crazy. But you don't like coffee? You don't like coffee? Why don't you like coffee? I never used to like coffee. Honestly, one of the things I didn't like at all was coffee before I tried it properly. And now I drink it almost every day. Like, I wouldn't drink it straight up. I wouldn't have a black coffee, but, you know, nothing wrong with a good latte. Who doesn't like coffee? That's the real question. You know what? A lot of people. Example number 1. I've not touched tea or coffee since 1976. How? How? Not even tea? Like, I don't like tea either. Like, I get the tea thing. I'm not a tea drinker. You'd think me being from Yorkshire that I would be a tea drinker, but I'm not. I like herbal tea. My mum got me on that. My mum got me on the herbal teas. I never used to like them, and then I started drinking them once, and I was like, you know what? These are not bad, and I have them now and again. But I'm definitely a coffee person. You haven't had any of them since then? That's crazy. That's like dedication, actually. What do you have when someone asks if you want a drink? If you're like to be asked, like, do you want a cup of tea or some coffee? Like, what do you say? You just have water instead? Because you know what? That's actually not bad. That's like really good for you. Like, really good. Good on you, actually. You know about the caffeine? Or do you just not like the taste? Because, I mean, I hate tea. Controversial as a British person, but I just do not like black tea. It tastes horrible. I've even tried, like, different versions of it. Like, different, you know, like, what is it called? There's another version of it. It's not quite black tea, but it's similar to it. I even like that. I didn't even like that. So I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I might be very, like... I might be very Yorkshire, right? But the one thing that isn't Yorkshire enough about me is the tea loving. It was a hot summer, I didn't drink it. Come winter, I didn't like the taste anymore. But that's crazy. All because of the weather? That changed everything. Wow. 1976? That's... Do you know what, though? Like, it is not a bad thing. It's really just not a bad thing. And I think, to be fair, sometimes I would probably just prefer to have, like, a glass of water instead of a cup of coffee. I only have 1 coffee a day though. Like, I can't even drink more than 1 because it's too much for my body to handle. I think I used to drink 3. I used to drink 3. Kizzy was born my year for reference. 1976. Jack. There is 4 years between us. I'll have you know, I was born less than a month before the end of the 90s. TP to Kilmore, then we'll go to Eldwood to check again. Okay. Do I need to TP back? Do we have to both do it for it to work? I remember the 1976, the hot summer and sandpipes. I was about 8. 8! 8! Oh my god, I love, oh my god. I try and imagine this every time. I do it with my mum all the time. I'm like, imagining when you were like that young. Keep searching there while I look. Okay. Oh my god. That's so wild. The hot summer and sandpipe. I feel like I feel like you've told me about this before, right? I feel like my mum's told me about that. I feel like you've told me about it before. I almost like kind of remember it. You were 8 too? Oh my god, so cute. From countryside, big water tanks at the end of the road. Yeah, she's told me about this before. I remember. Oh my god. That's wild. Like, we complain now and it is really bad now. And personally for me, with like the problems that I have with my health, like heat, no matter how hot it is just too much anyway. But like that kind of a summer would be like hell. More honey at Matana. Ooh, let me fast travel. Me and you were not even cells then. We weren't even a fault, Jack. We weren't even remotely like... They were just babies themselves. We had a tap. I remember you telling me about going down to the end of the street and stuff for it or something like that. Where am I? Where am I going? I need to fast travel. Where is the fast travel point? I've lost my like... Raz is trying to help me and I'm just like dilly-dallying. We were looking at the tap was right outside our gate. Yeah. I was like, it's either like down the street or it was like right next to it. Can you tell me like everyone else had to come to you though? That would be like really annoying. I feel like you would rather it be further away than be right next to your house. Just so, like people are annoying you. As long as someone just broke it. Oh, don't take too long. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Elderwood. Damn that person. Taking my honey from me. Like I don't deserve it. My god. I'm trying my best. Okay, Matana Grove. Wait, Matana Grove? I'm on my way. I'm scared now. I need that one honey thing. Where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. I think it just despawned. Are you kidding me? Damn it. All that because I couldn't read what you were saying properly because I just like read it completely wrong. I do that too much. I'm like reading something and I read it as like a negative and then it's actually a positive message. And so then like I read it out to you guys completely wrong and you're like, that's not what I said. I lived in Southampton at the time and we didn't have any water shortages. They did ask people to be careful with it though. I feel like I've not experienced like oh there we go. I was gonna say it wasn't letting me pick it up then. I was panicking. I don't feel like I've ever really experienced... Well, you got a double drop? Did I get a double drop? I didn't notice. I have 8. Wait, I have 8! How many... Wait, how many do I need? I don't even remember. Does it tell you on your thing? Like, I've completely forgot if I changed it on the... Oh, God, it doesn't tell you at all, does it? That's so bad. Well, I think we just try and find, like, as much as we can. I got a single one. Wait, why do I get a single one and you get a double one? I said 12. Okay, 12. And now I've got 8. So I would need 4. Okay, so we need 4 more. You're really good at keeping up with me, though. Like, I'm terrible. You guys are so useful. You're just like... See? Amazing. Amazing. 3 more. Oh my god. 3 more just in time as well for the stream. Just in time for the stream. Like, 20 minutes of the stream roughly left. Amazing. Have you got bees in your ranch? No, I do not. I don't. Do you think I do, Tony? Do you really think I have anything like that yet? I'm not efficient like that. I do love them though, they're adorable. You would think that I do, but unfortunately... Oh, wait, no, that's not it. How many times am I gonna do that? Like, there's honey, no there isn't. I found some knee-high with Jack. How many streams do you think that that's gonna end up working in? Like, one of these days. I won't have any soon. You said you were getting rid of them, right? Why are you doing that for? I know why, but like at the same time, it's like really sad. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I don't think like, I want to get rid of my pets in Heartopia, but I do not have it in me to like actually physically take them back. Because you can. It will cost me 40k to take them back. But like, I don't want to because I'm emotionally attached. I get attached to things way too easily. Like, you guys ever go in a shop and you see like something cute and you pick it up and then you're just like, you can't put it back and like pick up another one because this one looks a little bit odd. You have to have that one. You have to take that one home because you've like connected with it. I'm just gonna take them all then. Suit yourself. Wait. Can you imagine? You haven't even... You said you were going to play this game, right? I swear you said you were going to play Palia and you just haven't played it. Everyone I recommend Palia to never plays the game. Market, yes. I'm yapping away. I completely forgot. Good shout. Thanks for the reminder. I just hate ranching. It's the worst skill ever. I will agree on that. It definitely is probably the worst skill. In Paleo. Definitely. I mean, it's definitely on par with like bird watching in Heartopia though. Like, they don't really do anything. In fact, you know, ranching is actually better than that. I played 10 minutes, that's something, right? You actually logged on. Wait, I forgot you actually made an account. It happened again. But like, why don't you just play it? I don't know, like, why not? Why wouldn't you just play it? I mean, honestly, the only reason I would say not to play Paleo is if you play Paleo, you have to set aside like a decent amount of time to actually play it. Because if you intend to play for like an hour and then log off for the first time, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I got warned about Stardew Valley to do that, like book off, like, you know, just like completely block out time to play it, and I didn't listen, and I had like an hour to play once and I just like didn't listen, and I got obsessed. It was really difficult to log off. I used to hate cooking, but I even prefer cooking over ranching. Do you know what though? I still hate cooking in Paleo. I still hate cooking in this game. It's just too much effort that I do not have. too much effort. Like, what do you mean I have to chop this and then I have to like stir that and then I have to put this in the oven and then I burn that in the oven and then I need to chop that again so I can put that in the oven? Too much. Exactly, the fireworks. That is exactly how my brain feels when I'm cooking. Have to set aside 5 to 6 years. Someone commented on my last, not my last Instagram post, but the one before it, I think, how they just started playing PALIA, and I was like, you are in for so much fun. I logged on for 10 minutes last year when you told me to, and then I forgot I even had it downloaded. Do you know how big of an update you would have if you haven't updated it since then? That would be a big update. Okay, we're gonna be super annoying for a second because I need to do this for tickets, I think. And we're gonna just like set off a bunch of fireworks. This is gonna be the most annoying thing anyone's ever had to listen to. I'm just doing them all. I don't care if I need to do them all. I'm just doing them all. I remember back in the day, there was a thing where people could make their own fireworks at home for like barely anything. And it was like the most agitating noise you could ever imagine. Oh, it's kind of pretty. But like everyone was just like stood there in the middle of Killamore shooting these damn fireworks for like 10 minutes straight without any consideration for my ears. Only the OGs remember that. It updates automatically. Oh, okay. I was going to say, because if you ever wanted to play the game again, it would be a massive update, trust me. Okay. What do I need to do now? Because now I have these to get then. And how many do I have now? I have 2. Wait, I still need to find the other 2 things. Does anyone know where the other 2 are that I haven't found yet? They've got to be like on the floor somewhere because I got all the high up ones. Oh, found one. We need one more. One more. Wonder where this one will be. Wait, is there like a chance of it being like down here? No? Okay. Refs? I just got that one, I think. I got it from here. I need one more. Trying to remember where the one is you're missing. That's very annoying, isn't it? Like, the one that I need. I can't find it. No one else can remember. It's not too big of a deal. Like, I can find it, like, off stream, but... We can look while we're waiting for Trapper Chase. Because we might as well. Like, we have nothing else to wait for. I found the other 5 as well without really even thinking. I did look up here, but maybe I should look again. So I got the one on top of that. I got the one on top of there. The one by refs, and I don't remember the other ones were. I think there was one back here. Fast travel, drum roofs. Fast travel. Wait. The last one I just got was by ref. You said there's one by the fast travel. Is it this fast travel or the other fast travel? I'm gonna assume it's the other one. Unless it's up here. It won't be up there. Okay, so it's not there. Oh yeah, the fast travel one you're saying is like behind the building. Or like at the side of the building, because I think I got that one. Have a look. I think I got one from like back here. I think that's where it was. Drum roofs, yes. Refs, yes. East Cliff is that way. I don't know if I have that. I'm just gonna check the ones that you said and see if we have them or not. Just in case. I think I might have though. Wasn't it around here somewhere? Struggling to remember. It's okay, you don't have to. I can get it off stream. So maybe I got that one. I got the East and West Zekis. Wait, Zekis? Wait, I think that might be the one. That could be the one. There's one by Zekis. Whereabouts is the question. There we go. I think we found them. Yeah, thank you. That was the one. Got it. Nice. Finally. Okay, we need to go and buy these then. Because I don't think... Yeah, I need to buy 3. And then the rest of it's just going to go on other useless stuff that I shouldn't be buying because I probably should save for something else. But you know what? I just don't care. So 6 of these at least move about 6,000. Wait. Wait, I didn't need to buy... It gave me 2? Wait, what? I'm confused. That is so confusing. I'm so confused. It just gave me 2, but it didn't give me 2 at all. Huh? Well, I got another one. It's fine. You should have a couple of arrows. I don't know if I have them at home or not, but if I did... Yeah, I had 2. I had to buy 3, unfortunately. It's okay. It's all fine. It only gave me 2, so I needed the rest. We have that. We need to buy this, though. Where do I buy this from? Can I, like, buy it from here, or does it have to be bought from her normally? No, actually, can I buy it? Did you just sneeze?
These days I see you more than my own boys.
She just sneezed. That was cute. Oh. Wait. We have a problem. You might be able to buy it at the ranch cash register. I got mine from actually trading in. Trading in? You want me to trade in my animals to get cookies, to get rewards? That sounds awful. You got yours from trading in animals. That sounds awful. I can't do that. No. My animals are not leaving me. They're not going anywhere, okay? So I might be able to get them from the ranching one then. What level am I though? What level am I? 8? Okay, I can still get the... if I can't get them from there, but I have to buy them from her, I can still get them. Yeah, I don't have guild coins yet though, because I'm only level 8. Once they hit venerated, they don't produce crops, so they're not useful to me. Once your animals don't produce anything anymore, that just deems them useless to you. I know they're annoying, but like, I can't get rid of them. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I have to do that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. How am I gonna do that? When my animals are just like, don't give me anything anymore, am I just supposed to sell them? What happens to them? Do they go to a farm where they're happy? Oh my god. This is so cruel. They go to that farmer woman in front of you. So, okay. That farmer woman has a name. She has a name. Oh, the farmer woman? I'll have you know this is my great dear friend, Delilah. What is that guy doing? He's making me very dizzy. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we okay? Are we okay? What? What is she then if not a farmer woman? She's Delilah. My great dear friend Delilah. For a high level, you can get cookies that will return venerated animals back to babies, but they are expensive. How expensive are they, though? Do we buy them from her? Because I want to see. Or do you buy them from the till? The register thing? These cookies make me laugh. Like, why is there one that's like a fast grower? Why would you want to grow your animal super fast? Like, an oopsie cookie. What? An oopsie cookie? Like, hello? Sometimes you just need a do-over. That's awful. She'll be able to get them from her. What are they called? Some of these don't seem that bad. This is the most expensive one. Could become a genius, or you could forget to tie your shoes if where the cookie tastes delicious. Randomize each tier of your animal's functional trait. Yeah, that's not it. First breed, fancy breed, grow me faster. What? She works on the Palian farm. I know she works on the farm, but like, she got a name. Do you know what's funny though? I don't remember her husband's name. What's he even called? Wait, Badru. Okay, I remember it now. Takes me a minute to remember his name every time. I just remember him as the guy that makes the dad jokes. He's not even the farmer guy, he's just the guy with the bad dad jokes. We'll TP home as I've got one from trading in animals. I don't know what they're called. Chopper chase very soon. Ooh, thank you. Thank you. I would not have remembered that. What are those wings? Oh my god. That's majestic. Hello? Wait, are they crossed? That is cool. That is really cool. I'd want a cookie that turns animals into pies or burgers when they are... I'd want a cookie that turns animals into pies or burgers when they reach venerated. I'm sorry, what? You did not just say that. I thought you guys were bad when you were talking bad about like Ugg in like Heartopia or whatever, but that's just too far. That's just too far, I'm afraid. What? Do you not bond with these animals at all? I named mine very specific names. I couldn't do that. Make that a lot of pies and burgers if some animals are quite big. Wow. Wow. So cruel. You guys. I could never. I could never. Even if that was a thing in the game. Do you know what? It was bad enough when I started playing the game and I had to hunt the animals for things. That was already crossing the line for me. But if that was a thing in the game, I just wouldn't be able to do it. I just wouldn't be able to do it. You couldn't even give me like free outfits or something for that. I just wouldn't do it. It's going to be a very hard decision when I unfortunately have venerated animals, because I might have to just like not play. I can't shoot them and cook them. I like a cookie that does it. Oh my god. No way. It's not cruel, it's environmentally friendly recycling. They're not compost. Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys are psycho. What is going on? Oh my god. This is crazy. It just like couldn't be me. I'm going dizzy. I'm going dizzy. Okay. Okay, they didn't fix it. Some of the people still disappearing in front of my eyes. Don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare. No! Why is it like time travel? It like time traveled away from me. I keep hearing them, but I can't see them. Called Divine Donut that returns venerated animals to babies. Okay. I'll have to see how much that is because I'm not gonna lie. I might have to slow down on like the animals because I'm not gonna want to get rid of them. And if it's expensive, I'm done for. It's gonna have to be like a picking game. Which one do I like the most? And do you know what the bad thing is too? How am I supposed to determine which animals to keep if it is expensive? Because do I determine it based on the songs I don't like as much? Because I named my animals after names in Taylor Swift songs. Do I choose my favorite songs to keep? I just checked and that's not sold at the cash register, so only from trading in. So I have to trade in animals to keep other animals. PALIA. What are we doing? Why do I have to get rid of animals to keep others? That is so cruel. Wish I had got rid of Trap Chase to Balloon Pop. I don't know. I like the chaotic vibe of Trapper Chase, but it's like such a chore. And it makes me dizzy as well. This gives the same vibes as like when we had the frog glitch and we used to run around like maniacs for like 15 minutes straight. Like I got so dizzy back then. Did everyone else get like headaches from that? I think I remember getting a headache every time we played. It was so bad. I can't believe you have to trade into... What happened to my chopper? I can't believe you have to trade in to actually be able to keep others. What? Like farms in real life, you'd run out of bleeding room, which is why they get turned into... That's just like, how do you do that? How are you guys like fine with that? I bet you guys didn't name your animals though, did you? I remember you telling me you just named them like after the animal that they are. Like, I named mine with deep consideration. I need to turn up the DPI point on my mouse for faster turning PALIA for Trapper Chase. Really? I named a few. What did you name them? What did we name them? I'm kind of curious. We have coins. Wait, we have coins. Let's go spend them. I am gonna have to end stream soon though, despite not having the honey, because I have had a headache like all day and I do need to eat. But I'm gonna see how Wednesday's stream goes because we're gonna be playing a new game, and I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be able to get myself to like only stream it for 2 hours because it's a new game. So I might try and plan ahead to make sure I have like food ready. You know, we might stream a little bit longer, but I'm not promising anything. My name's Sweet Pickies. KFC, hot wings, crispy strip. Jack, are you still there? Because why does that sound like your kind of a name for your animals? If you played, that's what you would call them. You guys have the same vibe. That's so cruel. I named them, but then still donated them. How? How did you do that? Ferris named Ferris wheel. You named your Ferris wheel. Why do I actually... Rolly named Roller. These are good. Mine had names like Chicken Dipper and Chicken Pie. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen people name their like dogs like Chicken Pot Pie or something before, like on TikTok. And it's cute when it's not actually a chicken. But when it is a chicken, it's no longer cute. 4,000 tickets? I just got 4,000 tickets? Hello? Did I just see that right? What in the world? Are we being for real? I just got my tickets back. Wait, what am I even using right now to oh, I just got another one. Okay. Oh my god, that was lucky. Hello? We're back up to 12,000 tickets. Wait. I just got 4,000 tickets from the machine. I can't do it yet. I'll have to do it next time. Just so you guys know that by the next stream we play Palia, that I should have like multiple plushies, and if I didn't, I forgot. It's simple, they're only pixels. But you know, okay, I have this thing that I just said, like, I cannot go into like a shop and pick up like a plushie and then be like, oh, but this one's better because the stitching's better on it. No, I picked this one up. This one is now my favorite, and it's now my son, and I have to take it home with me because if I leave it there, I'm just abandoning it, okay? I form connections with inanimate objects, and that includes pixels in video games. I have one chicken in Stardew Valley yet. That's the only animal I have in that game, and she's called Daisy, and I love her, and I forget to feed her all the time, and I feel terrible. I rose with steak burger, and I can't remember the rest. Then they started getting named B1, B2, B3. So you were like creatively mean, and then you just got lazy with the names. Mine are called after like Taylor Swift songs, like I said, the names in the songs. So like one of them's named like what, that's so bad. One of them's named after her like childhood best friend because of one of the songs that she's in. I can't get rid of that one. That's too mean. Like, I was just like stood there thinking, what are you supposed to call your animals? Like, Bob? I can't call a chicken Bob. That doesn't even sound right. But then again, neither does steak. Or, like, no. Do we have anything that needs opening? We don't, but we do need to take these back. So we're going to go and add the honey into the bulletin board. You do know you can have more than one animal named Sim, so when you get a new one, retire the old ones. See, this is the thing though. Like I said, I named them after the names in Taylor Swift songs. She has like that many songs. I don't need to worry about running out of names. I don't think I'll ever have that many animals in Palia that I'll run out of names and have to rename them after the ones I already had. I don't think I will need to. Because when I run out of her songs that are actually released, I'll just use unreleased songs. Or like references or something. Watch me have like a chicken called Travis or something. That's just like... Wow. I also had chicken tikka and chicken curry. You named one butter chicken yet? That could be... This is so mean. But you can technically keep the animal while also trading it in. But it's not the same. I'm emotionally connected to that animal. I can't get rid of that one. Can you keep them all, but just like, they don't do anything? Out of curiosity, can I just like keep them and not do anything with them? Just let them live in my like barn and that's it? No? Oh. Oh, okay. Are you sure about that? You can, but you can't add more. Oh, that's what I meant. Like, can I just like keep animals, not buy any more animals, and just never have to get rid of them? But they just don't do anything except from bring me joy. Because I feel like joy is important. Comes a limit to how many you can have, but then you won't level up. Do I look like I care? I don't care. Like, I genuinely don't care. I'm like, oh well. You know, like, oh well. Like, it's fine. I also just realized I actually do need to do leveling up right now, though. I do need to level up in this time, but not, like, badly. I mean, we can go and see if I can just buy them with gold. Because if we can buy them with gold, I can finish 2 things. You'll have to keep feeding them or they'll get grumpy. Do you know what, though? Like, I didn't feed them for, like, 6 months. I think they'll be fine. I didn't feed any of them for, like, 6 months. Like, I'm not feeding them right now. I know that's really bad. I'm just gonna go check the register for the cookies, but... You know? They don't like me. It's fine. I love them. Deep down, I do, but I'm not feeding them. not doing it. Wait, I can't buy them at all. You can't buy these unless you're level 10. Isn't that kind of like mean to make people have to be level 10 to complete that? What? I also love the I like that. I love the animals, but they completely stop. Yeah. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. No. It's fine. They'll be fine. You know, don't even worry about it. They'll be okay. They don't need me. It's alright. It's fine. They don't care. All good. There should be a way around blockage by completing the daily quest. Yeah, that's what we thought, but Tony said that you don't get, like, something if you do it that way. Like, you get the completion, but you don't get something else. I don't know. It should apply towards the board completion goal. I don't know. I'll have a look into it, but I'll probably just level it up anyway, because I don't think it shouldn't be that difficult, right? We're like a month. We should be okay. We should be fine. Yeah, you get Kilmer coins, and I really want Kilmer coins. There's things I actually want that involve the Kilmer coins, I think, if I remember right. So I should probably go and get Kilmer coins. Guys, I had a web browser up this whole time in the background. Has stream been okay the whole time? Please tell me it has been. That is really bad. That is really bad. Oh no. That's dreadful. I had a Chrome tab open. Stream's been fine, no lagging. Why do I do that? That hurt my ears. Oh my god, you didn't hear it because I muted it for you guys, but like, ow. It's been fine though? Okay. That's fine. If it's good, it's good. That's all I care about. But that's like, oh my god. Okay, I think we might actually have to go into a category instead of my follower list because I don't actually have anyone to go into. Oh, I need to... Okay, we have 3 minutes before ads play, so we need to hurry up. I don't want to give you guys ads when I'm just about to end. That would be awful. That would be absolutely awful. And I want to send you into Palia because obviously we want to give you guys the drops if you haven't already got them. This is a dilemma now because no one's live. No one that I follow is playing Palia unless they're like the top of the list, and I don't like to do that. Who's this? Oh, we're in the Be Right Back screen. We're in the Be Right Back screen. Hang on. Oh, that's not good. I want to send you guys somewhere. I don't have anywhere to go. This is the problem. I need to be following some more people. I don't know any of these people. Wait, is this? Who? Oh, well, let me have a look. Let me have a look at that. I always feel bad like going into people's streams that have like more than me though. But if you're recommending, I will. I'm always down for that. I'm always down for that. Don't be daft. I just feel like sometimes people don't like it. They're like, oh, you have like, you know, like, oh god, I'm so sorry. You have less people in your stream. You go into like bigger streamers. They get like a bit weird sometimes, but I don't know. I don't know. She seems really nice though. So we'll go over there. I just sometimes feel super intimidated too. But no, if they're a good streamer. Fair point, you know, actually, fair point. Very fair point. Yeah. Obviously reading wrong picture. True, that is a good point. I think this stems from when I was a Fortnite streamer, like all those years back. I used to have people give me grief about it, but this is the cozy gaming space. It's different. Okay, before I start to try and play, I will say goodbye. I will be live next Wednesday. We won't be playing Palia unless there is a delay with the other game we will be playing. So we should be playing Star Sand Island, I believe. It does come out at 5 p.m. at BST, not BST, GMT. 5 p.m. 5 p.m. GMT. So I'm going to see about going live at 4, but it could be 5. It could also be 5 p.m. because I want to see if I need to download the game or anything first. But yeah, we're playing a new game. So if you guys want to come along and check it out with me, that would be nice. And I'll see you guys then. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.